Take a deep breath right now. I mean it. Stop for a second and let the air fill your lungs completely. Don't do it because you think some magical shift is going to happen, or because you expect your problems to evaporate into thin air the moment you exhale. Do it because you genuinely deserve a moment of peace. You deserve 60 seconds where you aren't rushing toward the next deadline, not worrying about a bill that's due, and not carrying the crushing weight of every responsibility on your shoulders like some weary titan. Just breathe. Let the air move through you, and as you let it out, let your shoulders drop. Seriously, feel the space between your ears and your shoulders grow. Unclench your jaw. Most of us go through our entire day with our teeth gritted, holding on to tension in our bodies without even realizing it until our necks ache and our heads throb. Release it. For the next few minutes, you don't have to be the strong one. You don't have to have it all together. You don't have to pretend that everything is fine just to make the people around you feel more comfortable. You can just be. I don't know exactly what brought you here tonight. Maybe you were scrolling mindlessly through your phone, trying to escape the loud thoughts in your head or the heavy silence of your living room. Maybe you were searching for something, anything, that might make a lick of sense out of what you're currently going through. Maybe someone who cares about you shared this with you because they saw the look in your eyes and knew you needed to hear a different kind of voice. Or maybe you just stumbled upon this in the middle of a sleepless night, looking for a steady hand in the darkness when the rest of the world has gone quiet. Whatever the reason, I am truly glad you're here. I'm not saying that because I have all the answers. I don't. I'm not saying it because I can promise you a perfect tomorrow where all your troubles vanish. I can't. I'm glad you're here because sometimes in the absolute middle of our personal chaos, we need someone to remind us of the things we already know but have simply forgotten in the noise. This is that reminder. This isn't a lecture or a performance. Think of this as a conversation between two souls. One speaking, one listening, both of us searching for something real. We're both hoping, and we're both deeply, undeniably human. So, settle in, get comfortable, kick off your shoes, lean back, and let's walk through this together. Can I be honest with you for a moment? Life is hard. It's not just difficult or challenging in the way a self-help book describes it. Sometimes life is genuinely, overwhelmingly, and impossibly hard. It can feel like you're trying to swim through molasses while everyone else is sprinting on solid ground. And I don't think we say that enough in our culture. We live in a world that constantly tells us to stay positive. We're told to look on the bright side, to grind harder, and to count our blessings, as if gratitude is a vacuum cleaner that can suck up all our genuine pain. And don't get me wrong, gratitude matters. Perspective is huge. But sometimes, before we can even begin to find the light, we need someone to acknowledge that the darkness is real. We need someone to look at the shadows with us and say, yeah, it's dark in here. So, let me acknowledge it for you. If you are tired, that is valid. I'm not talking about the kind of tired that a long nap or a weekend off can fix. I'm talking about being tired in your soul. You're tired of fighting battles that no one else sees. You're tired of explaining your heart to people who just don't seem to get it. You're tired of waiting for things to get better while you watch the calendar pages flip and everything stays exactly the same. You're tired of putting on that brave face every morning when inside you feel like you're falling apart at the seams. That exhaustion is real. You aren't weak for feeling it. You're human for enduring it. And if you're lonely, that is valid too. You might be surrounded by people all day. Family, friends, co-workers who see your face and hear your voice. But loneliness isn't about being alone. It's about feeling unseen. It's that hollow sensation of being unheard and unknown. You can be in a crowded room at a party and still feel like you're on a different planet. You can be married for 20 years and still feel completely isolated. You can have thousands of followers online and still feel like you're invisible to the world. That isolation is real, and you aren't broken for experiencing it. It's a sign that you're wired for deep connection, and the lack of it hurts. The same goes for your fear and your anxiety. If you wake up at 3 a.m. with your heart racing, running through every possible disaster that could happen tomorrow, that is valid. Fear doesn't mean you lack faith. And anxiety doesn't mean you're failing at life. It means you care. It means your brain is trying to protect you, even when its protection feels like it's going into overdrive. If you are grieving, whether it's the loss of a person, a relationship, a dream, or just a season of your life that's gone, that grief is valid. There is no right way to mourn and no set timeline for healing. Anyone who tells you to just move on clearly doesn't understand the depth of what you've lost. Even your anger is valid. Sometimes, anger is the only sane reaction to an insane situation. I'm not here to tell you to just pray harder, or to suggest that if you only had more faith, you wouldn't be struggling. That kind of talk has wounded way too many people. It makes them feel guilty for being human and adds shame to their suffering. It turns pain into a punishment, and that's just not the truth. Instead, I want you to hear this. Your struggle does not disqualify you from grace. Your doubts do not disqualify you from love. Your mess does not disqualify you from meaning. You are not a project to be fixed. You are a person to be loved. Let that sink in for a second. Read it again if you have to. You are not a project. You are a person. Let me tell you about a man I once knew. By every external measure, this guy was winning. He had the successful career, the nice house in the suburbs, the beautiful family, the kind of life people scroll past on social media and feel a twinge of envy over. He had checked every single box the world told him he needed to check to be happy. But every night around 2 a.m., he'd find himself wide awake, staring at the ceiling fan as it spun in the dark. His heart would be racing, and his mind would be spinning even faster. He was haunted by this crushing question. How could everything look so right but feel so wrong? He never told a soul. How could he? What would he even say to his friends or his wife? Hey, I have everything I'm supposed to want, but I'm still empty inside? He was terrified people would think he was ungrateful, or crazy, or just plain broken. So he kept it bottled up. He smiled through the meetings, played the role of the happy dad, and checked more boxes. But every night, in the silence, he wrestled with a despair he couldn't even name. Maybe you know those midnight hours. Maybe you know exactly what it's like to feel completely alone with your thoughts when the rest of the world is sleeping. Maybe you know the specific, heavy loneliness of suffering in silence because you don't have the words to explain what's hurting. Here's what I wish someone had told that man. Here is what I want to tell you. The midnight hours do not last forever. I know it feels like they do. When you're in the thick of the darkness, it feels permanent. It feels like this is just your life now, and this is how it will always be. But it's not. Midnight always gives way to morning, not because there's some magic guarantee that everything will be fixed by sunrise, but because that is the fundamental nature of time. It moves. It changes. It carries us forward even when we feel like we're stuck in cement. The feelings you have right now, as intense and overwhelming as they are temporary. They are real, but they are not permanent. They are true to this specific moment, but they do not get to define every moment that follows. This chapter is not the whole book, and this scene is not the entire movie. You have survived every midnight you've ever faced so far. You are going to survive this one too. There's something else you need to understand about the pain you're feeling. It always comes with a story. Whenever something happens to us, our minds immediately start writing a narrative to make sense of it. We take the raw facts of an event and we start layering on meaning. We draw conclusions and create an interpretation that explains not just what happened, but what it says about who we are. Often, the stories we tell ourselves in the aftermath of pain are far more damaging than the actual events themselves. Think about it. Someone rejects you, and you immediately write the story. I am not lovable. There's something fundamentally wrong with me. I will always be alone. You fail at a project or a goal, and the script becomes, I am not capable. I don't have what it takes. I should just stop trying. Someone walks out of your life, and the story you carry is, I am not worth staying for. I am destined to be abandoned. These stories feel like objective truth. They feel like facts of life, but they aren't. They are interpretations we created when we were wounded and just trying to survive. And here is the beautiful thing about stories. They can be rewritten. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen by pretending the pain didn't exist. But slowly, with intention, you can revise the script. The story, "I am not lovable," can become, "That person didn't have the capacity to love me the way I needed." And that says more about them than it does about my worth. The story, "I am a failure," can become, "I failed at that particular thing, in that particular moment, under those specific circumstances." Failure is just data. It's not my destiny. What story have you been telling yourself lately? Is it actually true, or is it just familiar? You have the power to question those narratives. Your interpretation of reality is not reality itself. We spend so much of our lives in a waiting room. We tell ourselves we'll finally be happy when we have enough money, or when we find the right partner, or when we lose those 20 pounds, or when the kids are finally grown. We push peace into the distant future, convinced that our real life will finally begin once all the conditions are met. I'll relax when, I'll start living when, but the perfect moment is a ghost. It doesn't exist. There will always be an obstacle. There will always be something that isn't quite right. I think of a woman I knew who spent decades saying she would travel when she retired. Then she retired and said she'd go when her health was better. Then she waited for a companion. She passed away without ever taking that trip. I think of a man who postponed being present with his kids because work was just too crazy right now. Work never slowed down, but his kids grew up and moved on. These aren't just sad stories. They're wake-up calls. This moment, right now, with all its mess and its imperfections, is your actual life. It's not a rehearsal, it's the real thing. And it deserves your presence. Not your distracted, anxious, or conditional presence, but all of you. What if you stopped waiting for permission to be happy and started practicing it today? What if you created pockets of peace right now, right in the middle of the chaos? You can't control everything, but you can control your presence. When we feel overwhelmed, our brains have this funny, albeit destructive habit of thinking in extremes. We look at the mountain standing right in front of us. The debt, the broken relationship, the career that's stalled out. And we convince ourselves that we have to climb the whole thing in a single, heroic leap. We see the massive distance between where we are sitting right now and where we desperately want to be, and that gap feels so wide that it actually paralyzes us. We consider the sheer magnitude of the changes we need to make, and we get so exhausted just thinking about the effort that we end up making no changes at all. We stay at the base of the mountain, staring up at the clouds, feeling like failures before we've even laced up our boots. Think about the person struggling with an addiction. They think, "I can't imagine never having a drink again for the rest of my life." The weight of forever is so heavy that it makes today feel impossible, so they give up before lunch. Or think about the person buried under $50,000 of debt. They look at that number, and the idea of a $50 payment feels so tiny, so insignificant, that it seems pointless to even try. So they spend the $50 on something else to numb the stress, and the mountain only gets taller. We do this with everything. Our health, our dreams, our messy houses. We want the transformation to be instant and dramatic, and when it isn't, we feel like we're just spinning our wheels. But here is the secret that changes the entire game. That is not how mountains actually get climbed. You don't get to the top by jumping. You get there by taking one step, and then another, and then another. You do it by not looking at the summit every 5 seconds, but by focusing entirely on the 3 feet of ground right in front of you. You don't need to figure out the whole journey today. You just need to figure out the next right thing. The person in recovery doesn't need to stay sober for the next 30 years. They just need to stay sober until they go to bed tonight. Then, tomorrow morning, they make that same choice again. One day at a time isn't just a cliche. It's a survival strategy. The person in debt doesn't need to find $50,000 today. They just need to make that one small payment, and then another. Over time, those insignificant payments start to chip away at the base of the mountain until, one day, They realize the summit is within reach. Small choices compound. They have a snowball effect that we often underestimate because we're so obsessed with the big win. But the big win is just the result of 1,000 tiny, quiet wins that nobody else saw. So, what is one small thing you can do today? I'm not talking about the thing that's going to fix your entire life by tomorrow morning. I'm talking about a step so small it feels almost silly. Maybe it's finally making that phone call you've been dodging for 3 weeks. Maybe it's going to bed 30 minutes earlier so your brain has a fighting chance tomorrow. Maybe it's drinking 1 extra glass of water or sending a single text to a friend you've lost touch with. Maybe it's just forgiving yourself for the mistake you made 10 minutes ago. These small steps feel like drops in the ocean, but enough drops create a current. You don't have to change your whole life today. You just have to take 1 step in a better direction. While you're taking those steps, I want to reframe how you look at the times you've tripped and fallen. Let's talk about failure. We've been conditioned to view failure as the enemy, as a sign that we're not good enough or that we should just pack it in. But your failures aren't your enemies. They might actually be your greatest teachers. I know that sounds like something you'd see on a cheesy motivational poster in a high school hallway, but stay with me. Think about the times you've grown the most. Was it when everything was going perfectly and you were hitting every target? Probably not. We don't learn much from easy success. We grow when things get hard. We develop resilience, wisdom, and compassion in the valleys, not on the mountaintops. Failure doesn't have to be wasted. Every time you hit a wall, that wall is giving you information. It's telling you that the current path is blocked and you need to find a new way around. Thomas Edison famously said he didn't fail 10,000 times, he just found 10,000 ways that didn't work. That's the mindset you need. Failure is just the tuition you pay for wisdom. It's the price of entry for a life well lived. If you're feeling like a failure today, it's only because you're still in the middle of the lesson. The question isn't whether you will fail. You will because you're human. The question is what you'll do with it. Will you let it define you, or will you let it refine you? Will you extract the lesson, dust yourself off, and take that next small step? Failure is never final unless you decide to stop walking. You are a student of life, and sometimes the hardest classes are the ones that matter the most. I need you to hear something, and I mean really hear it. I need you to let these words sink past the surface, past the intellectual level, and all the way down into those dark, dusty corners of your heart where shame likes to set up shop. Whatever you have done, whatever mistakes you have made that keep you tossing and turning at 4 a.m., whatever you regret with every fiber of your being, you are not that thing. You are not your worst moments. You are not a highlight reel of your biggest failures. And you are certainly not the sum of every bad choice you've ever made. There is a massive difference between acknowledging what you've done and believing that those actions define the core of who you are. Yes, actions have consequences. We live in the real world where we have to take responsibility. Sometimes we have to make amends, offer a sincere apology, or do the hard work of repairing the damage we caused. But carrying the weight of that choice as your permanent identity, that's not responsibility. That's a prison sentence you've given yourself. Welcome to being human. Every single person who has ever walked this earth has a mixed record. Every hero you admire has shadows. Every saint has a past they aren't proud of. You are not uniquely broken, and you are definitely not the one exception to grace. I think about a man I knew who spent nearly 30 years carrying a heavy blanket of guilt over something he did when he was just a kid. He let that one event shape every single thing about his identity. He punished himself daily in little ways. He didn't believe he deserved a good job, so he never applied for the ones he wanted. He pushed away people who tried to love him because he felt like he was a fraud who didn't deserve their affection. He was living in a prison, even though the cell door had been wide open the entire time. He was his own warden, his own judge, and his own jury. And here's the absolute tragedy of it. The guilt didn't undo the past. The self-punishment didn't make anything better for the people involved. The shame just added more suffering to an already painful situation. It wasted decades of a life that could have been used to bring light into the world. At some point, you have to decide if you're going to let your past be the ending of your story or just a chapter in the middle. The person who once hurt others can become a healer, using their deep understanding of pain to help others find their way out. The person who was hopelessly lost can become the best guide for someone else who is currently wandering in the woods. Your past is part of your narrative, sure, but it isn't the pen. You're the one holding the pen. There are chapters yet to be written, and I promise you there are plot twists ahead that you can't even imagine right now. Don't close the book early just because you didn't like the last few pages. You are still being written. While we're talking about writing your story, let's look at the people you've cast in the supporting roles. When was the last time you actually told the people in your life that they mattered to you? Not just assumed they knew, but looked them in the eye and said the words. We tend to wait. We figure there will always be more time, or we get so caught up in the urgent stuff, like emails and chores, that we neglect the important stuff like connection. Don't let that be your story. The people who stayed with you through the ugly chapters, the friend who took your call at 2 a.m., the mentor who saw a spark in you when you felt like a burnt-out match. They deserve to know. Those simple words, "I'm grateful for you," cost absolutely nothing. But they can be a lifeline for someone else who is also struggling in silence. And on the flip side of that, you need to realize something vital. You deserve people who stay. If you've spent your life surrounded by people who leave the moment things get heavy, or people who only show up when they need something from you, I want you to know that isn't your fault, but it also doesn't have to be your future. You deserve relationships that add to your life, rather than just draining your battery. You deserve people who celebrate your wins without a hint of jealousy. If you don't have those people yet, it doesn't mean they aren't out there. It might just mean you've been accepting less than because you didn't think you were worth more than. Part of finding those people is learning the art of letting go. We often hold on to things, grudges, outdated dreams, toxic relationships, because we think holding on is a sign of strength. We think if we just grip the rope tighter, we're being resilient. But sometimes, holding on is just fear wearing a mask. We're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of the grief that comes with saying goodbye to something familiar, even if that familiar thing is killing us. Let me tell you, letting go isn't a sign of weakness. It's one of the bravest things you can do. It's choosing freedom over a slow, agonizing death of the spirit. When you release what's weighing you down, you finally have your hands free to grab onto something new. Healing is one of those words that sounds clean and clinical on paper, but in reality it is anything but. We often carry this misconception that healing is a straight line, a steady, predictable climb from broken to whole. We imagine that if we just do the right things, read the right books, and give it enough time, we'll see a constant upward trajectory of feeling better every single day. But real, human healing is messy. It's up and down. It's 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. It's a string of great days where you finally feel like yourself again, followed by a Tuesday afternoon where a random song or a specific smell knocks the wind out of you and leaves you crying in your car. I need you to know that if you feel like you're going backwards sometimes, you aren't failing at healing. You are actually experiencing it. Those moments when old wounds get triggered by a new situation aren't a sign of weakness. They're just your body remembering what your mind has tried to tuck away. Be patient with yourself. Give yourself the same grace you'd give a best friend who is going through the exact same thing. Healing also doesn't mean forgetting. You don't get over a major loss or a traumatic season by pretending it didn't happen. Healing is integration. It's finding a way to carry what happened as a part of your story without letting it be the entire plot. It's moving forward with your scars, no longer letting the wound control your every move, but acknowledging that the scar is a part of your strength. While you're navigating that messy path, you might find yourself wrestling with the big question: what is my purpose? In our culture, we're fed this constant lie that purpose has to be something grand. We think it means building an empire, achieving fame, or leaving some massive legacy that echoes through the history books. But most purpose is quiet. Most meaning is found in the small, unremarkable moments of a Tuesday morning. It's found in the way you show up for your kids, the integrity you bring to your job, or the way you choose to be kind to a stranger when you're having a rough day. You don't have to change the whole world to be significant. Changing your own world, or even just making one other person's day a little bit easier, is a profound use of a life. Sometimes your purpose is actually hidden inside your pain. The things you've suffered have given you a level of empathy and understanding that people who have had it easy simply don't possess. You are now equipped to help someone else through a valley you've already walked. Your mess can become your message. It doesn't mean your suffering was meant to happen or that it was some divine test, but it does mean that your pain doesn't have to be wasted. You can redeem it by using your experience to be the person you wish you had by your side when you were at your lowest. As we wrap up this conversation, I want to leave you with one final thought. Hope is not a feeling. It's a choice. It isn't some fuzzy emotion that descends upon us when things are going well. Hope is a radical act of rebellion. It's the decision to believe in the dawn even when you are surrounded with the deepest darkness. It's the audacity to say, this is hard and it hurts, but it will not last forever. Cynicism is easy. It's the path of least resistance. Despair takes no effort at all. But hope takes guts. It takes a warrior's heart to expect light when you haven't seen it in months. So tonight, I'm asking you to make that brave choice. Choose hope. Not because I can promise you that everything will work out exactly the way you want it to. I can't. But because hope itself has power. It changes the way you see the world. It opens your eyes to possibilities and open doors that you would have walked right past if you were blinded by despair. You are going to be okay. Not perfect, not without struggle, and not without a few more bad days, but you are going to be okay. And sometimes, okay is the biggest miracle of all. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that your track record for surviving difficult days is 100%. You've made it through every single worst day of your life so far, and you're still standing. You're stronger than you feel, braver than you believe, and loved more than you can possibly imagine. Your story isn't over yet, not by a long shot. Reach out to someone today. Do one small thing to take care of your soul, and keep putting one foot in front of the other. I believe in you.